So there's an epidemic happening on every single car dealer's lot across the country right now. And what is that? It's lot rot. And we're seeing this specifically more right now because what do we know? We know that the demand for cars is low right now. It's very difficult for car dealers to sell cars. So what that means is that cars are sitting on dealer lots for much longer than they have been over the last few years. These vehicles are designed to be driven. They are designed to get hot. They are designed to have lubricated parts lubricated. And if they're not being test drove, if they're not being sold, if they're not being moved around these lots, then it's the absolute worst thing for these vehicles to just sit here and not be sold.
So when you're talking about lot rot on these dealers' lots, there's another thing that doesn't physically rot these cars out, but it rots these dealers' wallets. And what is that? That's dealer floor plans. And the longer that these cars will sit on these dealers' lots, the more interest they have to pay. See, what most people don't know is dealers don't actually pay outright for their cars. They don't pay cash for their cars, at least most of them. What they do is they do the equivalent of swiping a credit card for their inventory. And just like a credit card, the longer that you don't pay it off, the more interest that you're going to pay to the lending institution that's giving these dealers the money for their inventory. So as we've seen over the last year, dealer inventories have been stacking up. It's been much harder for dealers to sell their vehicles, and when it's harder for a dealer to sell their vehicles, they sit on their lot longer. When they do that, they pay more money in their floor plans, more money on interest, and that means that they're going to have more expense in their cars every single day that they sit there and do not sell them.
So one thing that happens from cars just sitting around for a very long time and not selling, you can see it on this car, they get dirty. And you can go to a lot of new car dealers, and often you'll see they'll have like a mobile detailing truck that's going around and spraying them on a regular basis. Now, they have to do that more often the longer that these cars sit, because they are going to accumulate dirt, dust. It's the worst in the springtime because pollen will just cake on top of these cars. And now in the wintertime, it's not so bad, where these dealerships probably send these detailing trucks around 1-2 times every month. But during the springtime, they'll have to pay even more money because they probably have to send them around every 2 to 3 days to knock all the pollen off these cars, especially here in the South where we get it all the time, and it is absolutely nasty. And I can tell you that these new car buyers, when they're going into these dealerships, if the car does not look like it's shiny and new, these dealers are going to have a much harder time actually selling these cars when the customer walks up and is like, ugh, gross, this thing needs to be washed. And black is the absolute worst. We just got this car clean like 2 or 3 days ago, and it is already nasty. And it's just, I love black as a color of a car. That's if I'm going to choose a car to drive myself, I'm choosing black. But if I have to buy one and have one out on my lot, I hate black. I hate it so much because it gets so dirty. This car was not cleaned up before that car over there, but it is it looks cleaner. It's the same amount of dirty, but this car right here looks way cleaner than that black car over there. All right, so even here at my lot, we deal with a lot of lot rot, and this is our war board. Whenever we're getting cars fixed, whenever we're moving them from getting inspected to drive cycles to getting them cleaned up, we have this little tab system where each one of these cars has the VIN actually written, the last 6 of the VIN written on these tabs, and it makes it easier for my guys to, when something gets done, they can just move it. But the lot rot factor that I want to talk about is up here. These are drive cycles. Now, these are cat codes. This is what these Traverse have wrong with them. And what happens with us getting these converter codes on at our dealership is that as these cars sit at auction, and then they come here and sit at our lot to wait to be driven, to wait to be inspected or whatever, then you can have uncombusted fuel that just sits in the converter and it clogs it up. And we deal with this all the time. You see, we've got 2 cases here, and then the 2 ones that are not here right now. This is ones we just fixed, and how we fix them is not by fixing the converters. We put some fuel treatment in there. We got the converters really hot and got them to blow out all the carbon that they had from the uncombusted fuel in their system. And this is something that we just deal with all the time. I mean, on a weekly basis, we have converter codes that we have to get our guys to drive out because these cars do not want to sit. They want to be driven. They're designed to be driven. They're designed for their systems to get hot, for them to move fluids through their lubricated systems. And as cars sit on lots and they don't get sold, or they sit at these auction lots and go no sell, no sell, no sell, week after week after week, this is an easy problem that we run into all the time, and that's these converter codes, and we're dealing with it right now. And here's something else you probably don't think about a lot. See, this car was smashed in. It was smashed in doing like a drive cycle, driving it. One of my employees was driving it and ran to the back. No problem. Accidents happen. But what I want to highlight about that vehicle is that the longer that cars are at dealerships and the more test drives that happen, the more times employees have to go get gas in these cars, the more that they have to move them around the lot just to shake up the lot appearance a little bit. And when accidents happen, insurance premiums can go up, and that's just added cost to a dealership. But this van is just another easy thing that can rack up extra cost for a dealer like me, just because, you know what, if we would have sold it before this accident happened, we're not going to have to pay for it, or our insurance is not going to have to pay for it, meaning our premium's not going to go up. So if you're watching this video right now, I'm assuming that you haven't hit that subscribe button. So do me a favor, doesn't cost you anything. Just hit that subscribe button for me, and I'd really appreciate it. It really helps me out. Another problem that we deal with all the time in these cars are batteries, especially as it gets colder. These batteries don't last very long at all, and if they sit for a couple weeks at a time and they aren't cranked, then they'll die. And these batteries that I've got, they're used cars, so they're not brand new batteries, and cold weather can really just destroy these things, and we're constantly replacing batteries on our cars out here, and batteries are not cheap, so it's an easy added expense for a used car dealer. And on the new car side, it's funny because these are brand new batteries in these new cars, but even recently I've been to a Ford dealership, and they were moving some F-150s just to shake up their lot, and they had to jump off quite a few of these F-150s to even move them. I sat there and watched these salespeople do it. These were brand new batteries in these new Ford trucks, and they had to jump them. That's a real bad look. If there's a customer that's walking onto this brand new Ford lot, they're looking at these nice $80,000-$90,000 F-150s, and the salesperson has to jump it off. Not a good look, and I would assume that customer that's looking at that brand new truck probably not going to buy that one if that's the situation. But it's just a testament to show you how long these vehicles are sitting on these lots when you have these brand new trucks that have sat for so long that these brand new batteries have died. More money. So another thing that can happen to these cars is as they sit for longer, the tires can actually go bad. You can form flat spots on your tires if they sit for a very long time, and what this will cause the tire to do is, as you're driving it, it will make some road noise. So it's going down the road, you actually hear that flat spot hit every time it rotates. And when you're talking about these tires on these used vehicles, then a lot of these cars go to auction before I get them. And before they're at auction, they're sitting at new car dealer lots. So a lot of times when trade-ins come to these newer car dealer lots, they'll sit for a couple weeks before they actually send them to auction. A lot of times they'll wait to get the paperwork finalized, whatever they need to do to get stuff from the customer that was trading them in. So they sit for a while there. Then you'll have them go to the auction where they might sit for a couple weeks. Maybe they no sell for a few weeks. We're seeing that as a big problem right now, where these franchise dealers aren't wanting to come down on their prices, so they're no selling week after week after week. Recently, I've seen some vehicles, and I've showed you on a couple of these auction videos where these cars have sat for 5-6 auctions in a row and no sold. So that's another month and a half that these cars are sitting and not being driven. And then on top of that, you bring them, once they're bought, they come to a lot like mine, and they sit out here waiting to be recon. That might be another week, 2 weeks, and then you sit them out on the lot when you get them ready for sale, and they might not sell for 2 months. So there's another 2 months that they're going to sit not being driven. Flat spots happen on these cars, the converters will get clogged up, sensors go bad, all of these things can happen to these vehicles, batteries go dead, because they're sitting for so long. And you take into effect that they're sitting from the dealer side, they're sitting at the auction side, and then they're sitting on the used car dealer side. It's just a lot of sitting for these cars that are designed to be driven. And I've had a lot of questions about what I'm driving now, but this is what I bought. It's a Lexus RX 350. I can't remember the year. I think it's a 2011 or 2010, somewhere around there. I paid, what did I pay? I think I paid like $10,000, $11,000 somewhere around there for it. It's got 120,000 miles on it. Yeah, it seems to be a pretty good car. I probably am going to end up getting something a little bit bigger in the near future. It's I'll drive it for a little bit now, but I needed an SUV, something that I can put my stuff in the back. But I do want something bigger. It's a little bit too small for me, I think. So there's a disconnect that I just mentally did when I was filming one of these videos. So I don't think about me talking to thousands and thousands and thousands of people when I'm recording these videos. I can see me in the camera, so I feel like I'm just talking to myself. People ask me all the time how I find it so easy just to talk to a camera, and it's I feel like I'm out here by myself. But now we've added some people to help, where we're getting some editing help, and now I find myself making these videos, and then when I mess up on a clip or whatever, I say, okay, well, do what you will with that. So I end up having a conversation with them through the camera. Now I know that they can hear me, so it's I feel like I'm going crazy is what I'm trying to say here, because I was just having a conversation with myself, but now I'm having a conversation with someone else who doesn't exist over here at this particular time. I'm not even, I don't think I'm saying this right. I feel like I'm going crazy talking to this camera, and I do it every day, and I'm comfortable with it at this point. Just feeling like I'm talking to no one, and now I'm talking to someone, but I'm talking to no one. But in reality, I'm not talking to no one or someone. I'm talking to thousands and thousands and thousands of someones, but it doesn't feel like that. Is any of this making sense? Because it's not making sense to me at all. Expenses that you might not, nope, not doing very well with this. The cold weather can really, and it's not a, so there is an epidemic happening on every single car deal. Nope. Yeah, that's going to be a blooper.